Okay, hello everybody. I'll introduce Rebecca. I always forget to introduce you, Rebecca. Rebecca Trujillo and I are here with Pandion Music Foundation today. Good to see everybody's faces. Good to
Hi.
see everyone. Hello. Thanks for dropping in the chat where you're tuning in from. It's good to see everybody's always so spread out all over the world, and it's so fun to see that. Um, I just wanted to give a little background on Pandion before we start. For anyone new here or tuning into the replay later, Pandion Music Foundation, we're a 501c3 nonprofit, and we host these workshops once a week on Wednesdays with different mentors from all areas of the music industry to share their expertise and break down the barriers between emerging artists and industry professionals to help share free information and resources, which is rare in the music industry, it seems. And specifically, a lot of information that we share is about sync licensing, which is still kind of a mysterious area of the music industry for a lot of independent musicians that they could still learn to tap into. So we find that that's an important kind of area to share about. And then we have topics like production, songwriting, a pretty wide variety each week, and different mentors and music supervisors that lead these workshops. So it's really great to be able to offer those resources. And then we also have on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time, wellness live streams now with different guests each week that are hosting those. So if anyone wants a wellness and mindfulness community to join, all for artists and indie musicians, that is there for you. And we stream those on our Instagram and Facebook pages every Tuesday. So welcome. And we have a lot of events. If you're in the LA area, we're going to have events in 2024. So keep an eye out for that, for those that we'll be announcing after the holidays. So we're here today with Jay Ward and Josh William. Thank you again for joining us. We're so excited to chat and hear from you both and get all the resources and information that we might have been lacking that you have at your fingertips ready to share. So very excited. And I'm just going to give us little background on the both of you, and then you can take it away and fill in anything that I've missed. But Jay Ward is here works at inside sales at Disco. And we've talked a lot about Disco and many of these workshops. But if you don't know, Disco is a great resource for independent musicians, specifically who are interested in sync licensing. But it's kind of a place to just hold all of your music files and share with music supervisors and get everything organized on the back end with metadata. So it's great. And I'm sure Jay will talk a bit more about that. And at Disco, Jay works with labels, publishers, media, and content companies, and also music supervisors to help them show them the benefits of using the platform and how to best set up their workflow inside of it. And he's also founder of and head of creative at Painted Face Entertainment, which is a boutique catalog of one-stop and easy clear music. And some of their noteworthy clients have been HBO, Meta, Bounce TV, Lionsgate, and Universal. And Josh Williams is here from the Midwest, a Midwest native, and trained in music at the Conservatory of Music and Dance in Kansas City. After touring globally with indie bands, he evolved into a film composer and educator with a thriving TikTok and Instagram following of 200K. Josh, or XJ Will on Instagram, has collaborated with renowned companies like Lionsgate Films, Apple, Warner Brothers, and CBS, curating a unique soundscape for diverse projects. And his expertise in sync licensing and ability to customize music to amplify storytelling has established him as a respected figure and educator in the industry, given him the opportunity to create an industry-changing initiative for BIPOC creators called Shades of Sync. So doing amazing things, both of you, and really excited to chat more. So welcome.
Thanks again for having us. This is great. It's really cool to have a safe space, if you will, to kind of talk about this kind of stuff and hopefully rising tides lift all ships, right? So I'm truly honored.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, that is really what we're trying to do with these workshops and with our live streams as well, is just create more of a community and place where we can share information safely and network, collaborate, talk, and yeah, share resources. So thank you so much.
We
Um,
do it at no charge. So we
yes,
find
no
it humorous
charge.
to support
Yeah,
our community that way.
yeah, and that's an important thing for us. Yeah, so I think that if you want to, do you want to just talk about what you'd prefer to do with the Q&A so people know before we get started? If you want to do that
Yeah,
as we
sure.
go or at the end, whatever you want to do.
So Jay and I were talking about this earlier. Like, I like doing Q and A's, or having a larger portion of these kinds of events with more Q and A, just so that we can make sure that we give you the value that you're looking for. So, based off of those bios that we'll have to slip Jordan a 24 later, we essentially what we do is we specialize in creating music that sounds larger than life for like trailers and promos and things of that nature. It's a lot more nuanced than making a song for an advertising campaign or something behind a scene of dialogue and things of that nature. So we'd be more than happy to share. We even got some projects set up that if you guys want to kind of look under the hood as well. I think what would be best is if we maybe talk about some things that are different between making things for trailers and promos versus things for sync in general. Can we start there?
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
And then if
Perfect.
you guys
Whatever
have
you want
any
to do.
questions,
Great.
please, like, I normally ask for the audience to interrupt us when you have a question, because it's way more important than whatever we're talking about. Okay.
Absolutely. And I'm
Yeah.
curious off the top, like who has already delved into that world of trying to create trailers or promo type tracks in here? Just like show of hands.
Oh,
Nice. All right.
nice. We got
So
some
it's
trailer
not like total
composers in
scratch.
here then.
Okay. Okay. All right. Talking to the
Sweet.
right people.
Totally. So, the biggest thing that I've found personally, and Jared and I have actually been collaborating together on making stuff like this for like almost 3, 4 years now.
It's been a
Something
minute.
crazy like
It's
that.
been a
Yeah, yeah.
minute.
It's the end of the
Yeah.
year too. So like,
I'll
um,
touch on that really quickly too to tell that story because I feel like that was really important too. It was a music supervisor who was coming together. He was bringing producers together basically to create a project of these type of large cinematic epic hip hop type music. And he had grabbed me, he had grabbed Josh, and I think one or two other producers, and kind of put us all together. And we just started making these tracks. And then Josh and I started kind of producing together from that project and just really like got solid. And from there, we've come to now producing with some really cool artists and making some really cool promos and trailer type music that will show.
and what's also cool about having this lane is that what I've seen as far as with the ad spaces, which is something else I actually specialize in, is that having something larger than life as far as the soundscape's concerned is always going to put your music on a higher quality level to most of your sync reps, just because you can always take it away if it's too big, you know what I mean? So I always have the adage of just go hard or go home when it comes to making things just sound huge and massive. So just something to kind of make sure that we mention and ideate. As far as with things that are different between making things for just production music versus kind of more of the epic trailer kind of things, I've found are to be two big things. One being structure, and the second thing being um, the sound choices that you're using to make things sound a lot bigger. And so, Jay, you want to kind of start us off with the structure that's super important for trailers?
So there's always going to need to be a structure. Typically, it's either three parts or five parts, but there's going to be sections of a trailer. It's not going to be like a song where you have a loop or you have, like a verse and a chorus and a verse and a chorus and maybe a pre and all that. It's completely different structure. There's typically three acts, as they call them, where you can start out with the bang, but keep it kind of small, build up, and then your ending is going to go bananas. That's the really game-changing impact banger with the stinger at the end to kind of finish it off. It won't be a trailed out, like, slowly drawn out finish. It's usually just a nice stinger ending on it. So when it comes to structure, you have to think that way when you're developing or composing, your track.
And if we want to even dive deeper with the structure of things, um, the act structure is important, but also finding your points of tension and release are extremely important to make. If we want to just dive deeper into structure for a moment. So, for instance, the act one is normally where you have this atmospheric sound to try to capture the person's attention. There's these things that we like to find, and this is normally, it takes me the longest to actually make the intro because it's the first thing that people hear, and if you don't capture their interest in the first 5 seconds, they're gonna either swipe away or they're gonna go do something else. You shouldn't have to just rely on the visuals of a trailer to capture someone's attention. And so these signature sounds that we might design or create to also capture the essence of the project that we're writing to is extremely important. And so having that to introduce a theme, things of that nature, that's normally what's happening in that act one. Act two is sometimes what I find to a lot of trailer composers, they like this part the best because this is where a lot of dialogue and story happens. So you'll find conflict here, you'll build tension, right? And also, I want to add as well, in between each of these acts, there's always some type of space in between for people to maybe have some type of catchphrase or some cool one-liner, or just to actually just switch moods. It's actually, I was thinking about this earlier today driving back home. In classical music, there's a lot of composers of the era would have different movements in complete pieces. And when we're performing them, after we play the first movement, maybe you have maybe one or two more in a symphony orchestra piece, you would pause for a second because it was believed back then that if you play something completely different, it could mess with your body's energy. So they would play the first movement of a concerto or whatever. You'd stop for like 5 seconds just to kind of get that music out of your system, and then start with the next piece and no one's supposed to clap. If you've ever been to a concert with an orchestra, that's normally how it works. And so I kind of feel like that's been condensed into production music when you have these different moments to change not completely change the mood, but to escalate things that are kind of happening. And so that's what Act Two does. You have a lot more movement involved. Again, creating tension. You have these specific trailer sounds that we'll use, like risers and things of that nature. And then you have another pause. And then the next spot is your climax. And that's where you have this huge wall of sound to get people really excited about what's going on. And normally that's where you have a harmonic tension that you will normally add at that spot as well. So that's normally the structure that we're looking at. And again, it's to build tension and get people really, really pumped and excited for the project at hand. That essentially, trailers and promo are all in the advertising business. So if we can't get them excited to want to go see the film or buy whatever product they're trying to sell, we're not doing our job. So trailer music is the undercurrent of the advertising industry, if you really ask me. Janet's got a great point too. Edit points are really important. These are the things that we're talking about when it comes to stopping, starting, having drops and things of that nature. Normally what we try to do with trailers even is we want to try to make at least 3 to 8 different moments of sections that can be used, because more often than not, you will find that most trailers never use one the whole way through a video project. It's always like pieces of things because editors like to Frankenstein these kinds of things together. So just something else to kind of keep in mind. But the other thing, I guess first, do you guys have any questions on structure or anything like that before we move on? I talk a lot, so I apologize.
No, that's a good place to stop.
Questions, comments, concerns, complaints? Awesome. We got one. How does promo differ from trailer format? That's a great question. So when it comes to promos, what I've found personally, and Jay can help me with this as well because he's normally sending me these briefs. Normally with promos, and he'll tell me this all the time, is that I'll go ahead and create it like a trailer, where I have these huge sounding hits and edit points like you were mentioning before to help the editor to see them on their editing bay screen so that they know where to line up different scene changes and things of that nature. But sometimes trailers are way bigger in scale and just depth of sound. And so what'll happen is I'll send him a trailer and he's like, no, bro, this is for a promo. So like, I need you to take away some of these hits, scale this down a little bit because it's this is just TV. This is not the next summer blockbuster. It's really important to kind of understand those kinds of differences. Also, promos are normally a lot shorter. A typical trailer's length is about 2 minutes to 2 minutes, 30 seconds versus a promo can be a 15-second TV spot. So those are some things that I can think of off the top of my head that are difference between the two.
And again, though, when making or creating that piece, you still want to do those sections because even though it's 30 seconds, they may take and chop out little sections. So you still want to give the editor those choices to make to decide what they're going to use for that promo. So it's very important to have dynamics.
That and then the other thing too, when it comes to it's just Carpenter's law. Essentially, you want to have more material to work with that you can chop away versus we don't have any more, like it's already finished. You know what I mean? So it's very important to kind of just make sure that I like to make sure that I have everything, and then we can always take away.
Here you go, Josh. Do you have specific plugins you love?
Ooh,
or
we want
are
to
you
talk
able to
tools?
share those secrets? They want to talk tools already.
Yeah. I am such a nerd when it comes to this kind of stuff. I personally, I started in trailers when I got into production music, and I used to always get rejected by my sync reps just because they're like, hey man, this doesn't, it's, the ideas are normally not the problem, it's just the quality of sample libraries that I was using. And so for trailers, for me, I found a combination of different things, and this kind of actually leads into our other talking point that we want to kind of share with you guys today, and that's layering. It's so important to have different layers of different sample libraries because what I've found is that if it sounds too uniform, if there's no human element of variation, it's going to sound a lot more predictable. And that's something that I always try not to do because I get goosebumps when I hear specific types of music. And normally it happens because the music is doing something I didn't expect. And so if I can do that, if I can translate that same feeling to whoever's listening to stuff that I make, I want to always almost keep them guessing, because if they can anticipate what's going to happen next, then guess what? This doesn't sound as expensive as I like to say. And so unfortunately, to make really high quality, expensive sounding stuff, it's important to invest into your sample libraries. So things like orchestral tools is something I like to use a lot. Heaviosity has a lot of great tools. Everyone loves using damaged drums. I like to take those and then combine them with other different drums like Strike Force or Keep Forest, and just to combine those things to make them sound different or unique than anyone else, because we all have the same tools. It's about how we use them. So we can talk about layering a little bit if we have time, but essentially what I'll do is I'll take, and I just made some content on this, I'll take 3 different samples and I will EQ them, one to be carrying the low end frequency spectrum, one to carry the mid, and then one to carry the high. And I'll cut everything else of each individual sample that it doesn't represent. And that way we can combine, whether that be volume, panning, different modulation tools like Shaperbox or Sound Toys. Those are also great sound design tools that I like to use. And we'll use them to basically sculpt our own sound out of things that we are pulling from either sample libraries like Spitfire and things of that nature, or from things that we record. Let me see. What other question?
Yeah, we've got a couple more. Let me see if I can find the last one. Okay, let's see. How long does it usually take you to create high quality trailer promos from scratch? Or do you do it as a duo? Do you work together?
Yes, we
just spoke about that this morning.
A lot together. Yeah. So typically, just because of the work schedule, I try to get trailers done as quickly as possible. I don't like to leave stuff unfinished. It's just, it irks me to no end. So it typically takes me, and I have actually a timer on a lot of my on my master channel just to keep me in shape, so to speak. And normally what I found for trailers, it typically takes me about 7 to 10 hours to create a full length trailer that I know is not going to sound like anyone else. So yeah, and that includes mixing, mastering. Sound selection normally takes the most time just because, again, we're trying to make something sound unique. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to trailer albums and I'm like, oh, the actual track changed. I didn't realize it because it all sounds the same because we're using the same structure. You know what I mean? So it's really important to make sure that you, if you want high quality stuff, it's going to take time. Fast turnaround. I mean, templates are a lifesaver. That's actually something we want to share with you guys today as well. Is it okay if I share screen?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. Let me see here. I was looking at this. This wasn't technically the one I wanted to share, but I think it's actually super helpful because this one has vocals on it. And I think we actually got a placement with this one. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, looks great.
Awesome. So this is my this is my template for trailers. I have a section for sound design, as you can see here. I have, let's see, an atmosphere section. I have hits, sub 808s for like epic hip hop. I have a huge amount of drums. Again, layering is so important. There's like a million different snares here, apparently, that will mix and match to make sure that they're all kind of playing nicely and there's no masking involved. And then here are my layers of drums that I like to use. And then let me see. And then my orchestra stuff, which strings, brass. So anytime I actually pull up my template, this stuff is already preloaded, and this helps tremendously when it comes to basically making sure that we have everything we need so that I don't have a delay when it comes to starting my creative process, if you will. All my tools are right there. I just need to kind of pick and choose. Does that make sense? I'm going to switch the driver out so that you guys can hear some of the stuff that we've made. This one got placed, I think, with Creed 3 this past summer, which was really cool.
While Josh is pulling that up, I will say for me, trailers take me a bit longer. But that's simply, we have different scenarios. I have 3 little ladies that are 3 years old and younger. So, and then I also work for Disco full time. But all in all, it might take me like a few days working at it in different spurts of time. But oftentimes we also work together too, in which case that's usually a shorter amount of time because I can lay a track out really well. And then, yeah, I know
both trailerize it
working together. Afterwards. Yeah, we can both trailerize it and talk about it afterwards. Yep.
Also, something else I wanted to mention. Ableton does this really well. I like to categorize all my favorite plugins that I like to use, so I'm never like searching around. Or if you can't remember the name, like Waves is notorious for this. Or I can't remember exactly the name of the plugin just because it's not the actual plugin, or maybe it's an emulation, so they change the name a little bit. And so like having everything that I normally use at my fingertips right here has been really helpful. I am so a stickler for efficiency when it comes to things like this, just because it takes every little bit of time that you're wasting, you could be doing something else. So I'm just going to play a little bit of this. Jay, should I play this with the vocals or without?
Which one is this?
This is Lucky All Day.
Lucky All Day. Play it with the vocals so they can hear it, I guess.
Okay, cool. They're actually already turned in. So we'll play this in its entirety just so you guys can hear the structure, and then if you guys got questions, we can answer them.
Technology.
Why? Okay. Well, let's answer some questions while I try to figure this out. What other questions do we have?
I saw someone that said, wow, that template is awesome. So yeah, in Ableton, it's really easy to make templates. I think in other DAWs as well, but templates are a lifesaver and a game changer because you can just pull up and have everything, all of your plugins set and ready to go. And then you're just like choosing sound options from there. And again, instead of having to search for it. and it's just a massive time saver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's amazing. It must be. It's like an investment to put the time in for the template, but then once you have that, I'm sure it's
This is what I'll do. I will share audio so you guys can at least hear the song, and then we can move from there. Is that cool? I apologize, guys.
Yeah.
This is
No, that's
ridiculous.
fine. That's not your fault at all. Let me see if there was if there were any questions we could answer well. For trailers, are you typically writing to the visual that the director gives you, or are you making pieces before you have any kind of visual?
That's a great question. I would say it depends on what kind of publisher you're working for. So a lot of publishers are starting to move more towards custom works, just because they're easy. They're not easier to clear, but it's easier to get what they kind of want, but they can be a lot more pricey. And so I would say for me, I probably sign NDAs maybe 20% of the time when it comes to like stuff that comes in for me to write. A lot of other things are normally on the production music side, so they need something to match the visual already, and so they'll just take a bunch of different songs that we might have and share them and pick and choose what parts they want to use for each campaign or project. Does that make sense? So normally we don't get to see them. If we do, then there's definitely some NDAs that we have to work with.
I will say we got lucky and we did get to write two visuals for a recent trailer that came out, which was really cool. So we actually got to put that to picture. That, I mean, obviously that helps massively, because then you can really play in your heads and plan all of the sound design and everything and really play with the picture. So that was a really cool experience.
Okay, I think I have it. Can you guys hear this?
Up in my door shut, D&D, so don't call up. A few missed meals, so what? Crunch time about to crawl up. I'm a force under big pressure. Under pressure, they sprawl us. If you coasting with a mediocre, then any over you call luck. I've been about the grind though. Got plenty of receipts too. My lower back tell me all the time what 12 hours on repeat, dude. But can't stop, but don't got breaks. I've been putting in years, dude. Ain't it funny how you get lucky when you work harder than your peers, dude. If I'm lucky all day, guess what? I guess I'm lucky all day. I guess I'm lucky all day. You wanna tell me I'm lucky all day? Some call me a king, others say I drew oasis. They think I picked up the crown from the pavement. Well, if I'm lucky, guess I'm lucky all day. Guess I'm lucky all day. Guess I'm lucky all day. Everybody around me gets gold things. Call it coincidence or good omens. If I'm lucky, guess I'm lucky all day. Guess I'm lucky all day. Guess I'm lucky all day now. Yeah, they wanna see my decline. There's a whole line of them, that's fine. I stay posted up in they minds and don't pay a dime of rent. I don't mix much with they kind. I ain't trying to blend the difference between I and them and Steinbeck of mice and men. Ooh, it's time again. Straps on and we live again. Upset and they in position, but I ain't even got eyes on them. It's a me versus me exhibition. Me winning, that's repetition. When I retire, that's deposition. Untouchable, I'm the definition. I don't blame them, I rise, feeling miserable. Came up as an underdog and now I'm at the pinnacle. Some call it crazy, others call it a miracle. The only thing I know is that I grind and I get it up. No, I ain't do no dice roll. I went through the fire, now everything is refined gold. Oh, what the hell do I know? Maybe I'm just lucky and this is how my life goes. Guess I'm lucky all day. Guess what? I guess I'm lucky all day. I guess I'm lucky all day.
play the stinger just because we just talked about it. So, but yeah,
Amazing.
as you can see, there's a lot of different things that are going on with the trailer, with the track. There's like 5 different sections that can be used for different things, and tried to make sure that the lyrics were super cohesive. And yeah, so I mean, there's any questions about the track or anything like that? I have the project open, so we can try to jerry rig something else to if you're looking for something specific in the track. But yeah, it's quite fun to make.
Oh yeah, Gail was asking if it. So you said this was placed.
Yes,
They
this
got
was
to put.
placed in a
Yeah,
promo for Creed
it would
3.
be cool to see how it worked with the visual, and yeah, love to see
Let
that.
me see if I have that. So normally what happens, especially with promos more than anything, trailers, it's a little easier to find them, but with promos, they have to pay if it's still public. So sometimes what'll happen, just like with ads, are only licensing it for a couple months, and then afterwards they have to take it down. So if we don't save it when we actually see it, or it gets announced, then sometimes it's hard to kind of track those things down. But I think they actually use this on, let me see if I can find it, on an actual Instagram post.
Yeah, it was part of an Instagram post for the promos with one of the guys that was in the movie. So when a film comes out, they do all sorts of little marketing pieces for it and quick little promo videos, as you've seen, whether it be brands that are partnering with that movie will have pieces. I think there was an alcohol like ad or something, or a vodka ad with it. Like any sorts of brands, they all have their little promo pieces that go along with this movie, and so that's what this usage was a part of.
I'm gonna try to find the because didn't you send it to me? Did you message it to me?
I swore it. Yeah, I think I tagged you and sent it. That was a while back though.
Let's see if I can find it.
Someone asked if you ever hire vocalists or writers. Like, how do you build your team?
Normally, we will create tracks first. So and this is like the best thing you could do when it comes to networking in general, is to provide value first. And so what we'll do is we'll listen to a catalog of music from an artist that we actually would like to work with. And from there, hey, I realized that you have this kind of sound. We wrote something that I think you would definitely like. And sometimes it takes a very long time, but eventually, patience is always the winning ingredient to all success when it comes to networking. So just stockpiling music that we build just for them. If they don't use it, that's fine. We could always have somewhere else it could be used. But what's nice is that we have the opportunity to create these things, and normally they get interested, and we end up sharing the song together. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think a key thing that he just mentioned is patience is everything. Like there's been some tracks that we've created a year and a half ago that we've sat on because we're waiting on this artist who said that they're interested in, like, they want to write to it, but we'll wait because it's like, they're that artist. And we're like, hey, people get busy, people have all sorts of work. So I think that's a really important thing to note.
Most definitely. Other questions, comments? I'm in the process of looking for this. And then royalty splits. Yes. So normally in sync licensing, what we'll do is we'll split everything down the middle, just because it's easier. Everyone has the same incentive. Like everyone wants to gets place. If I only had maybe 5% of a song and I had an opportunity, I'm not very inclined to actually do it because I'm not going to get much from the song. You see what I'm saying? So I've found it in my experience to just, if we split everything, even if there's like 3 or 4 people, just to split it evenly. And that way, everyone kind of, it's like a rock band mentality. Everyone eats. And it's a great way to keep friends. For sure. Let's see here. So normally, to kind of answer that question that Lisa had asked, normally we don't actually pay top liners unless it's something super duper fast that we didn't even intend to have a vocalist on, and the client is asking for lyrics, and I don't necessarily call myself the best artist when it comes to lyric writing. So when in cases like that, I try to make sure that the worker is worth their wages. So we try to make sure that they get something for their time.
Yeah. And when, again, another key thing he says, well, we'll listen to an artist's catalog, and then we kind of like reverse engineer it. We're like, yo, they would be like, we were just speaking about an artist the other day. We're like, that'd be really cool to produce for them. How do we go about this? All right. So we listened to a couple of their tracks. Let's make 3 or 4 that's in that lane. Let's see how we approach them. Is it via their manager? So then, you look on their Instagram, see how they get approached, and then go that route. And then be patient, because who knows how many other producers are approaching that artist, depending on how big they are. So again, that patience comes into play.
Interested on playing splits for Trailers.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we'll check out their stuff.
I think it's cool because I know this is we don't have a ton of time, but we had another track we were going to show you, and it was based off of a trend that we were seeing that we wanted to note that I'm sure most of you who are in this music or in this genre field are seeing, and that is the usage of remixes of popular songs everywhere on most trailers. I think I just saw it on the Napoleon trailer. I think it was War Pigs maybe that they used, but it's everywhere. The trailerization of popular songs is literally everywhere on a lot of trailers right now. And so if you're following trends, that would be something I'd pick up on and maybe find a popular song or even an older song and give it a flip, and use that to your advantage, because it seems to be in. Obviously, the clearances are going to be different, and that label would have to clear that song depending on who the artist is. But it's just like just noticing the trends and trying to roll with it. So we specifically did a track that I'm a massive Dreamville head. If most people know me, they know I love J. Cole's label and like all of his artists and Earth Gang and JID. Like, I'm just a Dreamville nerd when it comes to that. And so I was speaking with the supervisor who does trailers, and I was like, like, I've always wanted to trailerize a Dreamville track. If you had to pick, what would you choose? And they were like, actually, I have a project and I'd love it if you could flip this song. The song did not end up getting used for that project, but we've already been pitching it to other trailer houses, and it's had good responses. So we're feeling good about it. But it's, again, following the trends of what's in that world and trying to create something to it, and who knows what could happen.
That's extremely important. So let's actually, and what's great is that curating the right songs for trailerization is so important, because as we've just mentioned before, like, it takes a lot of time to like build and have all these samples kind of built from the ground up and things of that nature. So this song that we used from their the label's catalog is really cool. I'm going to share my screen again and see if it works. I'm almost finished pulling up the project. Let's see here, and hopefully I'll be
song
able
was
to
already.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the song is already really hype. Like, it's hype to begin with. So like you said, the song choices are important.
Yeah, and this was actually didn't. So Jay and I have been working virtually for the last couple years, and just this past fall, we actually got a chance to be in person to make some stuff. And this was one of the tracks that we kind of fleshed out. And let's see here. I'll go ahead and play the audio while this is still loading. And here, hold on a second. And you guys tell us what you think. Again, this one's super sound design heavy, just because of the fact of we didn't have a lot of material that we could use from the lyrics, just because they were well, it's a mainstream song, so there's a lot of stuff we had to like kind of edit. But check this out.
Oh, I know you didn't see this coming. But there's no way you're just ready for what's about to happen. Stick!
then we'll end up.
Yeah. And so again, like you can see, all the stuff we've just been talking about, the act structure is exactly the same. This one actually has 5 parts, but as you can see, the act 2 you could easily talk over. You build tension and suspense, and then the wall of sound at the end, and then your stinger as well. All these things are really important to have when it comes to having that huge epic trailer sound. And so, yeah, do you guys have any other questions? I think we had a question. How you clear a song to trailerize? That's a great question. Christina, I don't know if you're still here. It says that you left, but if you're watching this in the future, essentially what I've found to be helpful is just curating a good song. 9 times out of 10, the artist or the label handling that artist's catalog is going to clear it if it sounds amazing. So honestly, I would maybe stick more towards just making sure that you're curating the right songs and that it's produced well, because when you give it to your publisher, and it depends on the publisher as well, when it comes to different trailer houses. Some of them love to do this kind of stuff because they have those kinds of label connects already, and so when they present it, that's what happens. They say, hey, this sounds great, yeah, go ahead and pitch it, and we'll figure out royalty splits and things of that nature afterwards. Normally they're going to hold the majority stake in the composition side, versus the master, because I didn't help them write the song, so like that wouldn't even make any sense. But the upfront fees are pretty large enough to where if it's being licensed and they can actually afford that that artist from the label, you're normally going to not miss a pay cut when it comes to the upfront fees. Do I play? Yes, actually, Jay has been trying to teach me how to play guitar, but I also I went to school for trumpet, so like anytime I can add that as a layer as well to trumpet and brass things that I have in trailers, I do.
And then yeah, I play guitar, keys, bass, harmonica, so quite a few different instruments. So yeah, always trying to incorporate that. I do find, and Josh and I have had this conversation too. Um, a lot of times when I'm working on this trailer stuff, I start to get away from my instruments because it's so much sound design, as you can hear. It's a lot less soft pianos and nice guitar riffs and like stuff like that. That's sweet and like melodic. It's more so these sound designed systems. So we've talked about like a project. I really want to blend my instruments of natural instruments back into this and make it a whole different thing. So that's yeah, it's a vibe. We'll see what happens.
Definitely.
Either it could be good, it could be bad. Who knows?
Well, the other cool thing is that it's authentic, and when we were talking about this before we kind of started this, in the world of digital music and how AI is kind of helping us to create new things, it's really it just drives the value even higher for when you can actually get a human to come into a studio and record things instead of just playing it digitally. It makes so much of a difference. So yeah, that's really important. Do you have trailer houses you like to work with? Yeah, Crystal Creative is one that I like to work with. They just landed the Dune 2 trailer yesterday, which was super exciting. Gothic Storm's cool. We just actually got a email from one of my new favorites. Let me see. I don't have my email open. We just got a Riot Games League of Legends placement with Sterling. What's it called?
Silverside.
Yes.
That happened literally like less than 10 minutes before this call. I hit up Josh like, yo, did you see that we just got a League of Legends placement? He was like, nah. I was like, go look at go open your email.
Yeah. So yeah, my favorites are the ones that place a lot. So whichever ones those are. I'm trying to think of another one that I like to work with. Score has a nice trailer house as well. So yeah, it just depends
Buddha
on
Jones
the kind of...
too.
I'm sorry.
In Buddha Jones, AV Squad. Those are some cool trailer houses. Buddha Jones does a lot of horror type stuff. And actually, AV Squad does a lot of action. So like, there's different trailer houses that do different types of trailers, or you'll see they specialize in different types of genres. So I would say do your research in that part too, depending on what type of music you're making. Obviously not all trailer music's the same, so maybe look at that when you're pitching your music. What is this trailer house known for, and what are the movies that they've been a part of or projects?
Super important. Let me see here. What other questions do we have? It is an actual miracle to land a trailer. That is very true. We actually got word of that trailer. They told us to cross our fingers for it. Let me see here. If I pull up that email.
Is it a trailer or a placement? I don't know if that one's a trailer or placement. It'd be
Well, I mean,
cool
it's
if it's a
a
trailer.
trailer track. It's for
It's a trailer track.
yeah. It's actually promo, you're right. But it was for it, we built it as a trailer, and they told us about it being used for League of Legends and some E3 stuff. Not E3, what was it called? Esports. And we first got wind of it, let's see here, September the 18th. So like it takes a
Patience is
lot of
everything.
months for this stuff to go through. Yeah. So I mean, just something to kind of remember is that again, it's a patience game. Patience, though, is essentially just what you do in the meantime while you wait for other amazing things to happen. So for me, that's just okay. While this is I'm not going to sit on my hands from September until now. I'm going to make more music and hopefully drive the product and become a better producer. So the next time they ask for something, I have something that's like 10 times better. You know what I mean? That's very, very important, is to just stay consistent. Other questions. These are great. Could someone please? Okay, so they already got the list here. Do all trailers you have made have lyrics on them? Instrumentals land probably more often because normally there's more dialogue from the movie and expository that they want to use. So more often than not, for me personally, there's more utility in the instrumentals. We have a bunch of them that we make all the time. We basically, what we do is we try to make sure that the trailer stands on its own 2 feet without vocals. And so when you actually add them, they're there to enhance and not to kind of sound crowded in a mix. Does that make sense? So sometimes what I'll do is I'll have an acapella that I like to just throw onto a track, make sure it's the right BPM, and just listen to it to see if it sounds cluttered. And if it does, it means that either I have too many elements going on or there's a mixing issue. So, yeah. Any other questions? This has been great. You guys have been asking like the right stuff, which is, I think, extremely important. Do you ever get placements in TV shows or mainly promos for trailers? Okay, so this is something that is more nature versus nurture for me. And I get more placements with promos, advertisements, and trailers than I do on television, just because I've kind of angled my career that way. When I first really started doing music full time in sync licensing, it was during the pandemic. And so Hollywood was actually stopped. So it made no sense to me to reach out to music libraries that weren't getting a lot of briefs and things from television networks because no one was filming anything. And so I have a majority of my catalog personally into those kinds of things. And also the turnaround's a lot faster when it comes to advertisements because the return on investment's already been paid. So instead of waiting for the episode to air before we can actually start sending in cue sheets, the money's already kind of there and there's demo fees and all that kind of stuff. So, but that's me personally. My colleagues have a lot of other TV placements than I do.
I'd say mine's a mix of both, and that's only because I also run a business where I represent artists and composers and producers. So we get TV placements as well. We just recently got one the other day for an MTV show, help them in a secret relationship. But and some edit placements too, a couple that are coming out. Well, one that just came out and then another that is. So it's like we get a mixture of both, but that's only just the nature of the business that I do as well.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, can I ask what it took you to make that leap to a full-time career in music and sync?
Again, patience. Because I struggled for like 3 years to kind of figure it out. I didn't get my first placement until, I think it was about 18 months in. And that was just because I had no idea what I was doing. I was thankful that the library that picked me up actually picked me up. And my first placement was with a Taco Bell ad, and it was for like, I want to say $8,000 to $10,000. And what was great about it was that I was able to basically, it was paid practice. I was on like track number 210 or 218. And essentially, I reconstructed the track and tried to figure out why they use this one instead of all the other ones I've given them. And essentially, what I've tried to do is create like a formula system to make sure if I check all these boxes, I'll be able to make more placements more often. And so after about 6 months of getting into micro licensing, because it was a faster turnaround for payments and things of that nature, I saved about 6 months rent, because I really didn't want to make the walk of shame back to my job if I left and was like, hey, I actually kind of need this again, can you hire me back? And so I saved 6 months rent just to prove to myself that, hey, I can do this consistently part-time. So if I can do this part-time, I can definitely do it full-time. And so when my checks started matching my full-time job, I was working at Guitar Center's distribution center in Kansas City at that point in time. And yeah, my checks were starting to match. And so like essentially I just put all that money in the box, kept my expenses really low, and pleaded to my wife to let me hold on. I think I almost figured it out. And essentially after that, we were able to kind of make something of it. So yeah.
Amazing. Cool. That's good to hear that, and how people make it work, because there's so many different paths to do that. And
Yeah,
just
it's definitely a process.
Yeah.
Definitely a process.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah,
Success.
it's a feat to do it, and just to do it at all. I mean, balancing it with another job too is a whole other beast as well, and it's just as impressive in a different way. So
a lot of sacrifice, but essentially if for all aspiring artists that are in the room, when it comes to trying to find avenues to make music your full-time living, this is obviously one way that can be pretty lucrative, but the thing that I found that helped me the most was just, if I continue to do things that will put me in the right positions, and it could be small things, baby steps are still steps in the right direction. So as long as you're kind of keeping those things in mind, the something one of my professors used to say is that everyone has their moment, but everyone's not ready for it. So when it comes to, okay, I'm only able to work from 6 to 10 when it comes to making music, or maybe I can wake up early before my job to kind of get something started. Essentially, if I do that consistently for 6 months, I'm not going to be worse than I was when I first started doing it. So when an opportunity does present itself, I'm ready. So it's really important to just remain consistent. Do you do a lot of in-person networking? I have started. Personally, we're both in Kansas pretty much. So like, there's not a lot of music out here.
Yeah, not much here. We got to fly, but yeah.
But
luckily with disco too, they fly me places, because I do have to do a lot for disco as well, which is fun. But yeah, there's quite a few in-person things when it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Like there's Durango, shout out Shades of Sync. We also do NAM, and just places where the sync industry meets is probably the best thing that you could do. Virtual events like this is cool too, because I mean, you don't have to buy a plane ticket, and you can still collaborate and connect with other people.
Right.
Cool.
Thank you so much, both of you. This is amazing. And looks like we're at the top of the hour. And just want to say to all our listeners and community, thank you for joining us today. I know we're coming to the end of the year, and we're just super excited that you are part of our community and that we're able to do this for you. So excited for that. And thank you, both of you, for promoting this. This is amazing. I saw that, Jay, the little extended thing you did on Instagram. I put in the chat their Instagram names and handles. And if you want to sign up for our newsletter, Pandion at pandionmusicfoundation.org. And we have a big thing going on next week with Mark Wilder's going to host a party at 5, right? On Wednesday, Jordan?
Yep.
Happy hour. And there'll be some giveaways. And so, what else, Jordan?
Just a celebration of the end of the year and the coming year. And if anyone just wants to even just pop in for a little bit, wouldn't have to stay the whole time. We're gonna have a little bingo, music trivia. So it'll be fun. Yeah. And I also just wanted to say, Jay and Josh, if you have any like things you're doing right now, or any anything you'd want to tell people about before we head off that they might want to access, like any, if you're involved, like what you were saying, Josh, that conference that you went to, if that's maybe something people would be interested in.
Yeah, actually, so we were mentioning this before. Shades of Sync is a new initiative that I've kind of partnered with another colleague of mine, and essentially what we're trying to do is change the narrative when it comes to minorities in sync, whether that be BIPOC creator or women. We account for almost less than 10% of the industry, and our goal is to change that with educational stuff like this, but also in person, so that we're basically creating a safe environment space to kind of share information and collaborate with one another. And yeah, so we do that normally once a year in Atlanta, Georgia. We're working with some sponsors to kind of move around in different cities and things of that nature. So if you're interested, check it out at shadesofsync.com, and you can get on our waiting list for when we announce when tickets will go back on sale next year.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you again. This was, so informative and great information to have access to. So thank you so much. Oh, thanks, Rebecca, for putting that in there.
Thank you so
Cool.
and all.
Yeah, great to see everyone, and thank you guys again for this. So amazing.
Thanks again.
Thanks for having us, and thanks for people for coming. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, thanks for showing up. Have a good rest of your days.
You guys take it easy.
See ya.